Hi, join me on the mat for core workout yoga style. Let's get started at the very back of our mats, bringing hands into prayer position. Okay. Good. Standing tall, draw the navel in, chin level to the ground, allow the shoulders to relax, and take a big inhale, stretch your arms out, reach them overhead, big stretch, let the palms touch, and exhale, release into a forward bend, softening. Relax the shoulders, relax your arms. Your knees can be slightly bent. Just soften. Walk our hands forward next to come into a high push-up position. Toes are curled under, about hips width apart. Shoulders under the wrists. Contract the abdominal muscles so that you're nice and strong. A long straight line from the heel towards the crown of the head. And just holding it here. Keep breathing in through the nose. And a slow, steady exhale out through the nose. One more deep breath. And exhale to lower the knees down and draw back into a child's pose. Just give those shoulders a little bit of a break. Good. Coming forward back into a high push-up position. Just hold it here. If this is hard for you, bring those knees down. Okay. And if this is hard for you to be on your wrist, bring the forearms down onto the ground instead. You can have them parallel to one another or interlace your fingers, and just making sure you have a nice long line, whatever you do. So either high plank or low plank, keep holding it there. One more deep breath. And then bring those knees down onto the ground. Take a quick break back into a child's pose, softening here. A couple of deep breaths. Let's come back forward, back into a high push-up position. And we're going to exhale to draw back into downward facing dog. Use your abdominal muscles to shift your hips up and back. Okay, then inhale, coming forward and nice and strong into high push-up position. Exhale, float back. You can keep those knees slightly bent if it's hard for you to keep your spine long. And then shift forward into high push-up. Two more of those. Exhale, draw back. Inhale forward. Once again. Good. Inhale, shifting forward. Hold it then. High push-up. And then let's lower the knees down. Draw back. Take a quick break. Couple of deep breaths. Coming back forward into a high push-up position, just holding it here, nice and strong. Once again, forearms on the ground is a good alternative. Okay. Stay right here, holding it in static pose. Keep breathing, or join me. As you do this, you're going to lift one foot off the ground, squeezing the glutes off that side, that leg. Okay. And lifting and hovering, holding it here. And then very carefully releasing back down into the mat. Other side. So everything else very steady. Just going to squeeze to lift the foot off the ground. Notice how slowly we're going. Lower the other foot back down into the ground. Okay. Once again, one more on each side. Take it up. Lower. Very carefully lift. Control, control, control. And then all the way back down into the mat. Bring those knees down and draw back for a quick break. Soften. One more deep breath. And then shifting forward into a high push-up position again. Again, you can stay right there, static. You can bring those knees down for a quick break or come down to your forearms. But we're going to do that again. As you exhale, lift one foot off the ground, squeeze. Keep everything else very steady and lower. Don't let your belly puff up. You want to contract. Okay. Other foot lifts off, exhale, and then lower. One more time on each side. And lower. And here we go, last one. And lower. Okay, let's bring those knees down onto the ground. Draw back into a quick child's pose or resting pose for your body. Soften a couple of deep breaths. Good. Next, we're coming forward into low plank pose. Forearms on the ground, give those wrists a little bit of a break. And just interlace the fingers or place one fist into your hands. Okay, your elbows should be about shoulders width apart. So just measure them out. You can stay here on your knees. For a softer version, you're working to build strength, this is where you'll be. If you're strong enough, come off your knees, come off of your knees onto your toes and just looking for low plank pose. So we all know planks, you want to draw a straight line from the heel towards the crown of the head, holding it here. And let's release, take a quick break, and if you're strong, you can just remain there in your low plank pose. Those couple of deep breaths to restore. One more deep breath. Very nice. It's coming back into your low plank pose. Staying right here in low plank pose is good, or we're going to start to move into side plank. So either from your knees or from your toes, you're going to rotate both heels over to one side. As you do so, transfer the weight to that side of the elbow or the forearm. And then try sweeping the other arm up towards the ceiling. Let's do this. Left forearm down, right hand sweeping up. Okay. So come on back into the low plank pose. Let both heels sweep, drop towards the right side as you transfer your weight over to your right forearm. And then take your left hand, stretch it up towards the ceiling. So see how controlled we're doing this. We're doing it very slowly. Everything is very controlled. No jerky movements. And then move with the breath. Come back down. Okay, exhale over to the right side. Sweep the left hand up. Do that one more on each side. If you're doing it on the knees, bottom knee can come down. You can straighten the other leg. Good. And then back into your child's pose, or you just hold it there in plank. Couple of deep breaths. Good. Coming back into your low plank pose, we're going to rotate both feet over to the left side, and you can have your feet staggered, you can have your feet stacked, or you can take your right arm and stretch it up. Now if this forearm doesn't feel good this way, bring it parallel to the top of the mat, and then hold it here. Shaking is normal. I'm doing it. Shaking is normal. Here we go, one more deep breath. And let's bring it back down to the ground. And we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So simply roll over to your right side. Again, feet can be staggered. You can have your bottom knee down, or you can stack that left leg on top of the right. So do your best. Now, looking for a nice alignment here. Straight line from heel towards the crown of the head. You're holding it here. You keep breathing. Let's take one more deep breath here. And then we'll release all the way back down. Take a quick break in child's pose or hold it in low plank. Keep breathing. One more deep breath. Good. Come back into a low plank pose or high push-up position. Okay, whichever works best for you. I'm going to take side plank on that left side. All right. So guys, you can bring that left arm down into the ground again if your wrist doesn't like this position. So side plank, I'm going to take that right foot and place it in front of us so you can lift the hips up a little higher and then stretch that right hand up and over. A little bit of a side stretch of the body. And then we're going to lower, let those arms sweep back down. And then exhale, press up. And release. Let's do two more of those. Exhale back and over, and then soften, let the hips drop as your arms sweep back by the side. One more. And then release all the way back down. Come back into a high push-up, and you stay right there for 3 breaths or take child's pose. Come back into a high push-up. You're going to rotate over to the right side. You're going to take that left foot and place it in front of you. Okay. Left foot in front of you. You're pressing the hips up a little higher. And take that left hand, reach it up and over. Nice Nice side stretch. And then release, lowering the hips slightly as the arms sweep back by your side. Keep going. And one more of those. And release. Let the hips sink all the way back down onto the floor. And then come into your high push-up just to hold it there, or child's pose. 3 breaths. Good. Next, we'll bring the knees down onto the floor. Side settle so that you can come into a comfortable seated position. And then we're going to place the feet flat on the ground and hands behind you for a little support. Okay. Roll your shoulders away from your ears, lean slightly back. I'm looking for a nice V-shaped crown of the head lifted away from the shoulders. So if you're nice and long. Good. And then we're going to let both knees drop over to the right side and turn your gaze towards the left. Inhale back to center and exhale over to the other side. Okay, and back to center, same thing, just moving with the breath. If you feel comfortable, if you feel strong, you're going to start to float the feet off of the ground. Let both knees drop to one side, back to center, and over to the other side. Inhale back to center. If you want, you can straighten those legs a little or a lot. And bend those knees and turn to the other side. Center. And exhale. Good. Just keep going at your own pace. Use your breath to guide you. If this is easy, you can even bring those hands into a prayer position. And then twist. Good. Keep going. A couple more at least on each side. One more on each side. It's nice. Come on back to the center. Release the feet down to the ground and very carefully roll your way onto your back. So just take your time. All the way down to the back. Stretch your arms overhead. Reach the legs out straight on the mat. Reach nice long stretch from toes to fingertips. Big inhale. And then exhale to soften, release, bring the knees in towards the chest for a little bit of a roll out. Okay. And next we're taking both legs up towards the ceiling and then keeping your back in that neutral position. Don't let the low back curve off of the mat too much. You want to keep it quite neutral here. Start to lower that left foot down, maybe a third of the way, maybe halfway, or maybe just hovering above the mat. Okay, so you're just going to hold it there for a moment. See how you feel. Okay, and if you need a little bit more, take the left hand and reach it to the outside of the left shin or left knee and stretching it as far forward as you can, shortening these oblique muscles on the right side. Nice and shortening. And then we'll take that right hand and reach it back and hold it there. Good, static. Keep breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Back to center, and then other side. You're just going to let that right leg hover, maybe again halfway, a third of the way, halfway, or all the way down, just floating. So you just want to check in to see how you feel. This might be where you're at, or you can take that right hand and reach it to the outside of the left knee or left shin. Reach that left hand back. Let's hold it static for a moment. 3, 2, and one more breath, and then back to center. Okay, so you can do that static or follow me, and we're just going to flow. One side, left leg down, reaching that left hand out and to the outside of the right leg, and then switching. Now let's do 8 more of those. 1, 2, 3. Try not to let it swing. 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then release that, knees to the chest. Give that little bit of a roll out. Good. Now stretch those muscles out. Bring the feet down onto the mat. And taking a nice bridge pose here just to give those hip flexors and lower abs and abdominal muscles a good stretch out. Feet about hips width apart. Let the upper body release. For now, soften. And then pressing down into the feet and keeping the thighs parallel to one another. Lift the hips off the mat, pressing as high as comfortable for you to get a good stretch to the front of the hips. If you need a little bit more, interlace the fingers under your hips and try to bring those shoulders in a little closer, the biceps in a little closer towards one another, and keep breathing. Close your eyes. Good. One more deep breath. And then we'll release all the way back down into the ground. A little bit of windshield wipers with the knees. So just let both knees drop to one side, back to center, and then the other. And then we're going to take a break now, coming into Savasana. So join me. Try to stay here for 2 to 5 minutes. If you have something else that you'd like to add on, keep going with the vinyasa, or some sustained stretches, some nice yoga poses, go ahead and find some other class to do. Otherwise, just join me in Savasana. Relax, shoulders, arms, close your eyes. Thank you very much for joining me today. Namaste.